Right guys, I'm just replying to I've just watched Gigi's I'm not getting involved video. Obviously he's now involved, so that made me chuckle. But I've just listened to it, 20 minutes. I'll tell you what, if you've not watched it yet, please do. He pretty much worded it like I would have liked to have done, probably with a few more terms, and that message was for us. I'll try not to too much. Anyway, I thought it would bang on, to be honest. He pretty much said everything I'd sort of agree with. The only thing I did want to touch on, Graham, was you can call me Ant, by the way, but it's snapbacks. Everyone knows me as that. So, oh, there's one. We'll do a can. That I think I understand what you're saying, and I sort of edge towards it myself with putting your two best bets forward with grumps. But without grumps, I'm not sure if I'd have found your channel. So, I mean, DG mentioned that I've got 104 subscribers now, which I thought it was under 100. So I presume a lot of that traffic is more likely to come from Grumps' channel, because obviously he's a bit more active than a lot of us. He does a great video. That's number 2. You can have that, number 2. He does a lot more interaction with other subjects as well. So for me, to give him, that's number 3. Not going well, is it? I mean, I think Russ said I did 15 in the last one. I'll try not to. Yeah, he basically puts us out there in the spotlight when we do well. I know he doesn't cover us when we do bad, but to be honest, if he wants to say Snapbacks had a load of donkeys today, they're off to Mabel for fair dues to him. I've not got an issue, because it all goes up on the channel whether we've won or lost, and I think everyone on that's given them out for nothings, nobody seems to. I've never seen any of the lads remove anything. Most of them do a results, sometimes the next day, probably through a bit of frustration. But I think it's all genuine. People are putting out their selections for the day. Now, with this idea that Grumps has got, it's a bit like you mentioned, Graham, at the end of your videos on GG Racing is his hashtag. I'll try and put it in the description. But if everyone, it's like you was mentioning at the end of your video about being sat round a table at the pub or wherever it was, discussing your bets, and I think that's a similar sort of thing to what Grumps is trying to start. I do think that's 4. That's 4. I do think that that's 5. I do think that I like the idea. I really like the idea, and if I can go to one platform and find a few to put together, you might find on a regular basis that there's some people that are doing really well, and you might then decide to go to their channel. So there is upsides to it, and like I say, I fully believe that most of my traffic has probably come through Grumps, whether it's on a positive or negative basis, I don't know, but it's likely to come that way, because I don't see how else. My channel originated from me putting him up there just for my friend, really. Just so he said, just stick him up there every day, mate, and I can see him then. And then you've not got to send me a million slips. And I thought, you know what? Yeah, fair dues to you, I'll do that. Put a few videos together just for giggles. And that's where it sort of originated from. So, like you said, none of us are professional. Our selections, tips, whatever you want to call them, they're all just coming from looking at the form, horses we follow, trackers, whatever. Yeah, however people do it, they all have their own little systems, and I think we all enjoy that process. I think we're on 7, by the way, if you counted. we all enjoy that process of trying to find a winner, and I think that's the enjoyment that especially people like Steve get from his system. Without a shadow of a doubt, has made me a profit this year. So granted, I don't take all of them. Sometimes I'll say to him, I like this one in that race, and it's not like a head-to-head, but it's a bit, we have a good bit of banter between us, and then it'll be like, I'll say to him, well done Steve, you got the winner today, and then he might say to me, yeah, you've got it. There's no bad blood, there's no, oh, I've done better than you, or you've done better than me. It's a case of, I think, just enjoying what we do, and I enjoy it, and it's not, it's a pastime for me that I like, and I miss, a bit like what Graham was saying at Gigi's, I miss the days of, used to be in a little syndicate at work, that we had an older chap, bless him, and he used to, what he'd do was he'd say, right lads, that I think there was like, if I remember rightly, I'm sure it was either 8 or 10 of us. So he would select sort of the five categories, which normally consisted of 4 handicaps and a possible maiden, something like that. You'd be looking at them each week in, week out. When the season started, that's what you'd be following. You'd just focus purely on that, and you'd come together on a Friday, we'd discuss what we found, what we like. There'd be some funny situations because everyone has their own opinion on what you should be backing, and I've always been one that I can remember so vividly one that stands out at Doncaster on the flat. End of the season, found a horse in this handicap. I think it was like 24, 25 runners. It was ridiculous. The last one, you know, the last meet of the year. So I'd gone in, and my selection for that week, I'd managed to talk the bloke into it, that was also looking at the same race as me. So we'd got his heads together, and I was like, we're going to put this one forward. And he's like, oh, he's not going to like it, it's 50 to 1. And I was like, yeah, but it's 50 to 1 with a chance. And all it was based on was this horse had travelled all the way from, I don't know if I've told this story, it travelled all the way from Holland. He'd been racing in low class races in Holland, don't get me wrong, but the trainer had come over with one horse to Doncaster. I mean, you don't want to go there at the best of times, do you? But this horse had it done very well in its races over in from Holland, and it had all been on soft, heavy ground. And now don't get me wrong, I couldn't find any videos to watch it. So it's the first time it had raced in the UK. It had a nondescript jockey on. It was 50 to 1, and obviously the chap that sort of gave us the races to look at wasn't very happy. He was like, well, you must be able to find something a bit better than that, even if it's for a place. And I'm like, I fancy it. And out of all the horses, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, complete novice. I mean, we're going back 20 years. And out of all the races, you might think, well, yeah, there's better form selections, let's say, better trainer selections, better jockey selections. But on that particular day, that one caught my eye on basically the ground, and with it being a horrible, wet end of season run, where a lot of the people, a lot of the jockeys and trainers were probably sending horse to give it a run, but it wasn't a big paying prize. It wasn't like a super race. It was just a big field handicapped at Doncaster. And I just thought, you know what, I wonder what the cost is for them to bring that horse over. And I should imagine it was quite substantial. So anyway, to cut a long story short, on the day, I think it was the first time we'd had a big win. The 50 to 1 came in. I think we had it at 50s, we didn't get any SPs or anything like that. It probably went off at hundreds because no one was backing it other than silly old me. And that's what I sort of like about sometimes when you find these little ones, that they're like little gems, and they are few and far between, don't get me wrong, but they're there, they are out there. I mean, GG's touched on one that ran the other day, 250 to 1, like, and I think he said it went off at 1,000 on the exchange. I seen it because I tend to watch, even the races I'm not backing in, I'll tend to watch them, and I'll look over horses that have run, but I did exactly the same as him. I went back over the race card. Have I missed this one? Have I not seen it? And looking at the form, no way on God's green earth would I have backed that horse. No way whatsoever. So I can't be disappointed with myself for missing one. And I still don't think many people, like of you, I reckon if 5% of the punters got on that horse, that would be over, unless you're just playing big odds every race, which I wouldn't advise, because they tend to be big odds, and especially at them sort of odds, I mean, you might only get 1, maybe 2 a year, I think, at that price. I mean, that's massive, but there's no way on earth I would have been putting that up on the channel. Absolutely no way. Wouldn't even enter my calculations. It wouldn't have even made a short list. But that's the difference between us making selections and tipsters, because if you're getting a little wink from the stable, because that stable, I guarantee, knew that horse had a better chance than its odds reflected, and they would have made a nice bit of cash, nice Christmas bonus for all their employees, or on the other side of tokens, they might have just got lucky, and luck comes into it no matter what people say. There's times when trainers, jockeys have real intentions of going out and running a big race and expecting to come home with the first place, and things go wrong, especially with the jumps. Something gets brought down, disrupts the run. So yeah, that's something worth thinking about. But I thought his video today was brilliant, and he was saying, oh, it's 20 minutes long, but I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. I think he spoke from the heart. I just think that you've got to bear in mind when you say, I don't want to get involved in putting my best tips up on someone else's channel. If that's where your traffic is coming from, it might actually be a platform for getting you more views. I mean, you've got to back yourself, and I've always said that, and I love the fact that we have this bit of backwards and forwards on which ones we're taking. There'll be so many days in a week where there'll be 3 or 4 tipsters or people making selections that might back 3 or 4 different horses in the same sort of handicap, and that's because it all goes down to how you read the form. Steve purely sticks, and I love him for it. He sticks to his system, so he doesn't deviate, even though in his head I think sometimes he thinks, oh, I fancied that one, but he just does the system, and fair play to him, because like I say, if you've done it over a long term, I think if you know him and you follow him and you like it, for small stakes, I think it's a fantastic way of just giving you an edge, and that's the difference. Steve's selections every day, whether they win or lose, they edge you into a better chance on the day. So yeah, big shout out to Steve as well. He's doing all right. So keep doing what you're doing, mate. Don't be afraid to put out something that your system brings up. That's what I'd say. Just keep doing it, mate. People don't like it, they don't have to follow. No one, you don't tell people what to put on. Like I say, I wouldn't even get bogged down with your staking plan. If it's not something you like, then don't. I mean, I do it just because I've always done it. It's the way I've been brought up to try and look at it. A bit like what Graham was saying on protecting your pot. So I look every day to try and protect a pot, or at least get half of my pot back on my personal bets. and nearly everything goes through the exchange. So sometimes I might spend a few hours just backing and laying horses just because the exchange price is better. I might only make a couple of quid doing it, but a couple of quid then gives you a chance to have a punt on something at a big price. So everyone's got their own little ways of doing it. I've stolen Graham's traffic light system, quite like that. I think it's a really good way of doing it. Something I've not really thought of, but it's that visual aid of these green ones. I quite think have probably got a better chance. The orange ones basically are your mid risk ones where you think, well, yeah, definitely should be placing. That's the way I read it anyway. And then your red ones are just ones that you found that have maybe a bit of back form, a bit of history. You might have followed it before, you quite like it, and it's too big a price. So I'll definitely be following on his red ones, and that's, I know people think, well, that's mad, but my logic is, if you follow the red, you get, if he's putting, let's say he's putting bets up at 20s to 30s to 1, and if you follow the red ones, you can cover them very easily if they get placed and still make profit. So you can have £1 level stakes on a win and £1 level stakes on a place, and you'll still make profit if it comes in a place. Don't get me wrong, if it's a donkey and it runs at the back, then obviously it's just not ran up to its potential. But I find that one of the most profitable way of using the exchange, especially if you can find the bigger prices. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll look at them and if I think, no, I don't even see that getting a fourth, then I know. But then you are always running that risk. I think what Steve mentioned sometimes of missing them bigger prices. So it swings and roundabouts. I mean, you've always got to do what suits you, but you can't knock anyone for trying, or you can't knock anyone for having a go, because if you're not up there putting them up there yourself, then who are you to say, well, that was, I mean, you can say what you like on YouTube, you can say whatever you want, you say whatever you want to me, anything in the comments, but I just don't think you can really stand there and say, oh, that was never going to win. Well, you put up a tick then, that you put up the selection that was going to win, not after the event, before it. Put it in my comments section. If you're that confident that I've picked a bad one and you're going to slate me after the event, put in the event, that one's not going to win, this one's going to win. And then other people that follow me might go, oh, I'll have a look at that one. I mean, I would look at it and then go, and if I need to make amends, I'd put, there's been a comment in the comments, such and such has put this one forward. I actually think, looking at the form, looking at the card, it's actually got a decent chance. Nah, it's all going to depend on price with me. I don't, a bit like Graham, I tend to, I miss a lot of favourites because I don't like to back them. Although I found through more this year, through keeping a track of what I'm backing, the better price favourites, I'm not doing bad on actually. So I am trying to not be so blindsided by looking for a bigger price every time. Try and take like yesterday, the biggest return came on a couple of short price. I suppose there was favourites and second favourites, but that covered the day for the channel. So we're always learning too. We're not, we don't know everything, we're just having a go. So I think I'll wrap it up there, because I've started to waffle as well now. But yeah, great to see Graham's now involved. Grumps has finally seen the video. I think he understands where I'm coming from, and like he said, and I think it's right, I think 85% of it he doesn't agree with, and that's again his opinion. it's not my opinion. Well, it was my opinion that I put out, but rightly or wrongly, I think I would be more interested in getting involved in a community-based idea, that sort of like an online version of getting round a table and putting our selections forward. Now, I've even thought the only person that could probably do this is Grumps, but every now and again we could arrange some times and he could do a little pre-Saturday post. I mean, time, I think getting everyone together is always going to be the hardest part of it, but you could have a Friday night, you could have 4 people live on a channel, do a live, get 4 people involved, or even 2 people, 3 people, get them discussing so many races. So if, for example, I'm not saying Grumps is something he's going to want to do, but if Grumps was to set it up, he could then say to us, right lads, there's these 5 or 4 handicap races this weekend with big fields, like you all to look at them, not discuss them until the day, but then come with your selections. You can pick up to 3 if you want in a race. We can try and get some cross doubles in on bigger prices, or there might be 4 favourites that day. But I think that'd be a really good way of doing it, because it's a bit like the old sat with your mates round the table having a look at the paper. It's like that, but you're doing it online and for all to see. So is that something to go down? The last thing I want to touch on, which Graham mentioned, being as grumpy and as old as the grumpiest git, Dave, was he mentioned GG's shorts. Don't ever change them, mate, they're brilliant, I love them. I think it's an age thing, but I think the class, I think I don't know how you do them, but I think they're really funny, and some of them really make me chuckle. So, and if people have to go to your post and to your comments to see your selections, well, that's fine. If that's where they are, that's where they are. These people know where to go. I sometimes think with mine, I might miss a video. Today I nearly forgot to put the horses out. I've been going around commenting on everyone else's because I've done mine, and then I thought I'll check what I've put up in the post if I'm going to share any more for the day, and then realised I've not posted them, a bit like with that darts one the other day. So yeah, we're all busy. I say I've spent a lot of time travelling, backwards and forwards. It's the only time I've really got, and I thought, well, I'll start sticking it up on the video. At least people can see me, listen to some waffle, and then make their own mind up at the end of the day. So without further ado, I'm going to leave it there. Little shout out to GG's again. I noticed his first one had won. I think it was the only one I'd not backed, so I've told him I've jinxed the rest, because I've backed all his other ones. So hopefully, let's hope he don't get the last, that ain't his only winner of the day. So catch you all later. You have a good day and good luck with all your punting. Nice to see. Oh, I mentioned the Vale earlier. Sorry, I know I was going. I mentioned the Vale bookie earlier that I've not seen him. I came off the last video, and then 11 minutes later, there he was. So he's put some selections up today, and again, I think one's ran at 1 o'clock. So we've missed that one. Well, I have anyway. But I think I can't remember if it's probably on the exchange. I might have had a quid with him. So yeah, good luck for that one as well. I hope he's done alright. I don't know what the results are, but yeah, good luck. I wish everyone luck, because I'd rather anyone have money in the pockets than the bookies. Let's try and smash him. See you later.